Hello everyone, Lorie Burch here to answer your most pressing questions when it comes to estate planning and probate. So let's go to the Lorie Burch mailbag, shall we? Alright, our first question today comes from Julie in Flower Mound, Texas. Dear Lorie, I have been meaning to create a will for some time now, but for one reason or another it always gets pushed further down the to-do list. I definitely plan on having this done soon, but like most people, I'm trying to save money for the holidays. I found some websites that offer free or very low cost online legal services and am tempted to use one. Please let me know your thoughts about using these services and what, if any, problems I may face down the road. Signed, Julie in Flower Mound. Very good question, Julie. That is something that I actually run into quite a bit. And I believe that the real reason that people will attempt to do online forms or will kits is to try and save time and money. And the fact of the matter is that it hardly ever does either of those things. And these are some reasons why. First, and this should be slightly obvious, but that you will not know all of your options when you are trying to do online forms or fill them out yourself. In every meeting that I have with clients, usually always get the statement, well, I never thought of that, or I never looked at it this way. And that can amount to who are the best executors to pick. Should you pick family? Should you pick people that are beneficiaries? Should you pick your children, even though they may be only in their 20s? Should you pick people out of state? How should you distribute things? So there are a lot of different components that you're just not going to know unless you have the advice and counsel of a professional to advise you on that. Another thing is that you can't be guaranteed that they're the most up-to-date with laws. Some of you are probably familiar with HIPAA laws, which refer to the privacy of medical records. And there's been a lot of special language that we have needed to put in there or do additional documents or planning in the last few years to account for that. So there's some downsides when you don't know how the law has changed. Also, you can't be guaranteed that these are all state specific. Even the ones that say this will be good in any state or they attempt to put some language in there, they aren't necessarily going to have everything that is required by state law. And if you remember anything from our conversation, I want you to remember this, is that Texas is a great place to die. So hopefully that's some good news for you. And the reason why is because our probate process is very simplified here. However, if you don't have a will that has the right language in there, then you are not going to benefit from those laws. Another thing that I have seen a lot with online wills and forms is that they aren't even signed properly. So even if they have all the language and people named correctly and all that good stuff in there, they aren't notarized, they don't have the witnesses, or some people have this perception that you just type it out and get it notarized, and a lot of that under the law is just not going to be valid in the first place. And believe me, it'll get thrown out by the judges here in Texas. But one of the biggest downsides that I see by trying to do this planning on your own is when it comes to property that is outside of the will. So the will actually only usually controls certain property and assets. But then when you go to your financial advisor or you go to your HR department at work and you need to assign beneficiaries to life insurance or to retirement accounts, people don't understand that the way that that's set up works independently of your will. And one big pitfall is when it comes to parents of small kids, because when you design your will, typically if you have something going to your minor child, you have it go into a trust for them. You get to set the parameters as far as what age or ages you want the trust to be distributed, and you get to pick what trustees you want to oversee it. And then when you go to your financial advisor and they say, who do you want to be your beneficiary, they put little Susie Q on there. And that's about one of the last things you should do, because now you have that going to a minor child and the insurance company is not going to direct it to the trust that's in your will. So what good advisors and estate planning attorneys will do is help you coordinate those beneficiaries to make sure everything goes according to your plans and the way it should, whether that's flowing through the will with the trust or whatnot. It even gets as complicated as how you have, or I should actually say as simple as how you have your bank accounts set up, whether you have them jointly owned with rights of survivorship, without rights of survivorship, PODs, pay on death, do you even know what that means? I mean, these are all things that experts will help guide you through, and it's important to get that counsel and advice. And another aspect of that is that you really are missing out on the accountability of having a qualified lawyer at your disposal anytime you have a question. Because there is the legal world and there is the real world, and those things don't always go hand in hand. And just because we have documents that have all the T's crossed and I's dotted, when you go out there and you have to show a financial power of attorney to a bank or a medical power of attorney to a hospital, they don't always know what they're looking for, and a lot of times you hit roadblocks. And in fact, I get that call from clients quite frequently where they're at a bank trying to get a financial power of attorney honored, and the bank throws up roadblocks saying all sorts of crazy things. I've got great stories about banks, and I'm always on call for clients to call me and walk them through that process. So it really is important to have an expert and guide you through that, someone who knows the ropes. If you walk in and it's just an online form and a bank says we don't accept this, not only do you not have anybody to call, but you're not even going to know whether it's the right form or have the right language in there. So these are some of the big pitfalls. And when it comes down to it, a lot of it, again, has to do with cost, which I am sensitive to, but it really is a matter of value. And when you're thinking about it this way, where 1 month's mortgage payment or 2 car payments really can protect your whole family and do a full plan of wills, trusts, powers of attorney, funeral, burial designations. I mean, there's a whole litany of things that you can get done. Then there really is a tremendous value. So sometimes it's a matter of just understanding the importance of that. And what I would say and what I would leave you with is that people really owe it to their family and their loved ones to get the planning done and to get it done correctly rather than the cheapest thing out there. Again, as a good friend of mine says, my friend the carpet guy says, cheap gets very expensive. And this certainly is no exception. So, Julie, great question. Appreciate you submitting that. If anybody has additional questions that they want to submit to me, I encourage you to visit me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Burch Law, or also my website, which is burch-law.com. You can also find additional information there or even sign up for newsletters. Until then, remember, if you don't have a will, the state of Texas has one for you.